This is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, May 5th, 2015, episode 16. Hello everybody, and welcome to Infection. Infection is your source for the latest information on H1Z1. We bring you the latest news, changelogs, developments, strategies, and speculations each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Gamecast Live is my Twitter, and InfectionPodcast.com is the website. Joining me back again, Brian Aldridge from @BoysHungry on Twitter. What's going on, Brian?
Not too much. We made it by the skin of our teeth.
But we're 10 minutes late. That's not making it by the skin of your teeth.
Well, the people that are downloading this later, we're just right on time. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're in your RSS feed.
Ignore what's behind the curtain.
Yeah, Thursday morning, we're in our RSS feed just on time.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're a few minutes late, but we decided to wait until the last minute to do some stuff again. I'll take the responsibility for that, and we started a little late, but it's all good. We got it done.
Yes, and so I think everything's going to be good. Smooth sailing from here on out. Of course, if you want to find me, go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, and that is Brian with an I. Or if you want to go to biteoftech.com, that's BITE of tech.com, you can find all my contact information there. And of course, infectionpodcast.com, we have our contact form on there that'll get you to us. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Clan Spotlight. So there's a contact form on that. We have a bunch of different ways to reach us. So
yeah,
if you can't get a hold of us, that means you're not trying.
Yeah, exactly. No excuses. No excuses. Now, one thing I feel like I haven't promoted this in a few weeks. We do the show live. We're getting more and more YouTube views and more RSS downloads. We do the show live. It's live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Do your time zone conversion. That's not that hard. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday night. We've been on it. We did one show on a Monday. Every other show
because you had something going on.
It was
my family thing.
It was my birthday. Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. That's not important.
That's not. I had no choice. But so Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're here for about an hour and a half, and we talk about H1Z1. Now, Brian, there is some major news coming out of the H1Z1 team this week, and on the outside, it may not seem like a lot, but there's got to be a reason for this. So you threw this story in here. I'm going to let you roll with it, but we have to say goodbye to somebody.
Yeah, so this was kind of a surprise. Yesterday, I think the post came out, and it's that Jimmy is leaving the development crew for H1Z1. And of course, Jimmy Whisenhunt has been one of those people that have been on all of the different streams. So if you look at their awards they did, the Hizzy Awards, and he's one of their main streamers as far as going on there on a multi times per week basis and streaming the gameplay. Of course, one thing he got a lot of flack for is people would say, what about this bug? What about this bug? And he would say, I'm on the design team, right? he would say, that's not my area. But he has been recruited to actually come to Twitch.
Yeah, he's actually doing partnership. He's like a partnership manager. So he's dealing with the relationships between Twitch TV and their partners, which are normally people with, thousands of viewers at a time. Now, Brian, we say speculation in our intro, so let's do a little speculation with this. There has to be a reason for this. I mean,
I have my suspicions.
Okay, you have your suspicion. I want you to say yours. I have a feeling mine are pretty close, so go ahead with yours.
So I've been saying from day one that there are things with this development team that aren't up to par. And I remember in one of my rants that I did, I said, if you don't have the people that can do it, you need to hire on the people that can do it, right? And I don't know if maybe they're putting too much workload on him, maybe pushing him farther than his capabilities were, because I looked at some of the things he had said, and he pretty much said, I used to be a person who streamed games, and then they hired me on, and I was a person who helped design games. Now I'm going back to streaming again. And I don't know. I look at the graphics, and I think GTA is really one of those things that kind of...
Now, he's a combat designer, so he's not... I think you're thinking of Adam Clegg. He's the one doing the main designing.
But still, he is designing the flow and the feel of how you move.
Now, I would say the question for you, Brian, is was he kind of helped out the door, or was this his own prerogative? Like, I've had enough of this. Like you said, maybe they're putting too much workload on me, I'm going to step away? Or was this kind of like a, hey, see you later kind of
See,
thing?
I do think that the development team is too small for the project that they're trying to do and that they want to do. I think that there's not enough people on this development team. And we haven't gotten an exact number of people that are on this. I'm guessing probably about 30 people are on this development team. Mm-hmm. Personally, I don't think that's enough. And so I think that they're stretching their guys a little bit too thin, because if you think about 30, that's not 30 people that are doing graphics. There are people that, like 2 people that do the anti-hack. There's probably 2 people that do, certain server-side stuff. There's 2 people that maybe do what Jimmy does, or maybe Jimmy was the only one doing what he did. They just have it to where there's not all right, I'm going to work on this, you work on that, and we'll both come up with something together. It's pretty much on one person. So I think that there was probably a little bit too much on each of those developers. And like with the anti-hack, we give them a lot of grief, but there's 2 people doing it. I think that they at least need to double. If they're looking to put out this constant pace of content, I really think they need to double the number of people that are working on this project.
Now, Brian, I have a little bit of a different theory than you with this. You're more of the line that maybe they were pushing him a little bit too much and he just wanted to get back to his grassroots and going back to the streaming stuff. Now, I have a bit of a theory, and this may be a little far out there, that now that Daybreak is no longer Sony Online Entertainment and now they are owned by an investment company, I'm wondering if he foresaw changes in the game or changes in how they were going to have to develop the game and said, hey, I'm not liking this. I need to step out of this, before this gets too deep. I'm thinking that's a pretty decent possibility, because this is an investment. We got to remember, this may not mean anything, but this is an investment company that owns a company that makes video games. Investment companies are all profit. In this case, they may not be. Again, folks, this is total speculation. If you are watching this, know that we have no facts on this. This is speculation.
Now, Handy TV is saying in chat that they have about 40 plus developers. So I'm 10 off on my guess, but that's what I was guessing from just the different public things I've seen and just kind of seeing things from outside of the company. I was guessing about 30, but yeah, about 40 people. I still think that they don't need like double the developers in every area. There are certain areas where you can have 2 people, maybe 3 people that do that job. But I think with the people that are putting out graphics content, if they're not going to release like they have with their other projects, if they're not going to release that tool that lets the community put out graphics, then they need to pick up more people that are going to be coming out with unique content. Because as I was saying before, I look at GTA and I look at how much of a variety there is in all of the landscape. Every building looks different. You come into GTA and there's a lot of, and because one thing, it is alpha. We see GTA after final release. But for them to get to a pace to where it feels like, oh, that's not a copy of that other house, that's where they need to really come up with that content and maybe let people submit content. Say, hey, I designed this really cool house that I think would fit the theme of this game. I'm going to submit you the graphic files for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of, sad to see him go. And this is one of these things that he is so public, right? Even though he's not Greg and he's not the community manager, like Brian said, he was part of every single live stream that they did. He was their guy. In his case, he was the one that was setting up their live streams because he had been doing it at his house. So he had a lot of the technical experience with the live streaming. He had such a huge, I guess you could say, connection between the community and the other developers because he was always out there in the front. He's always posting on Reddit, always posting on Twitter. That for him to go, this is almost like a stab in the heart to the community, because now we have just lost another good connection with somebody that, was talking to the other developers, and I guess you could say was voicing our opinions.
Well, how many other developers? I mean, if you look at Schmedley, Schmedley's really cut back, and you mentioned this when it first started happening.
This is a while ago. Yeah, I mean, this is weeks ago that he's
really cut back on the number of posts and the how public he is. And I don't know if it's because maybe how much anti or negative feedback, negative press he was getting, when I thought it was great that he was putting out a lot of posts. I thought that was an important thing, is to be as public as possible and open as possible. Maybe they found that sometimes that kind of works against them. Like when people when they are constantly saying, all right, we're working on anti-cheat, we're working on anti-cheat. And then they say this is one of our primary focuses. They got a lot of negative feedback of people saying, well, you're not working on it fast enough. I wonder if they're kind of taking the less is more, maybe not so much of a public, everything is out on the table. Because like with him, he was one of the guys who was always out there talking about it. Clegg talks about it quite a bit. But how many other than Henninger, how many other people are really out there in the public eye that you're like, oh, I know exactly who that developer is or that person on the Daybreak team is.
Exactly, and that's why I feel like this is pretty significant for the community. Anybody leaving the game is going to have some type of effect, but if this is just a guy that just works in the back end and has no interaction with the community, it's a little bit different than a very prominent person that talks with the community leaving, and that's what's happened here. So we've got our I've got my theory. Brian's got his theory. I'm sure you have your theory as well. So we'll have to see what comes of this. But it's funny now that we're talking about him. He tweeted like 5 minutes ago that he'll be streaming something tonight at like 5:30 Pacific. So he has spared no time to go with that.
Now, some people are saying in chat they're really disgusted by the Reddit response that I got for him leaving. And, man, that's the thing that I wanted to really. I don't remember if I asked him during the broadcast, but one of the things I put in the notes was like, do you regret putting your primary platform under Reddit as far as this feedback? Because you're just asking for so much negativity, and it's got to be hard for them. And I know we've said one thing we don't want you doing is constantly going back and forth on what you're developing based on what Reddit says, because Reddit says one thing now and then 10 minutes later they're going to say they want something else. Reddit, for me, I would have preferred maybe some sort of a forum or something.
Yeah. I mean,
something else that's not Reddit.
It's the Reddit community, right? I mean, that's what it is. And there's pluses and minuses with Reddit. You've got a huge embedded audience, so that's why they have, what is it like?
I mean, one reason that our show took off initially was because of Reddit.
I mean, they've got almost.
I can't give you too much. It did get it out there quickly, but I mean, if you're on Reddit quite a decent amount of time, you're going to get people that are just trolling you constantly.
Oh, I mean, we get it too, but there's no way their personal forum for the game would have had 40,000 registered users like this subreddit has. Almost 40,000 people subscribe to it. That correlation is not going to be there. So, in terms of building the game, I mean, Brian, without Reddit, this show would be much less popular than I think it is right now. Not that it's flying through the roof, but we've had a lot of support from Reddit and everything else like that. So. Yeah. The comments were pretty bad. Not all of them. There was a lot of good ones in there. I was reading through and a lot of people saying, thank you for the time you put into the game. We wish you well in the future. But then there was people that were just like the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the internet for you. So we'll see. But now he says he wants more time to stream games and not have to work on a game every day. So that's what he's going to be doing.
Well, if he can be successful at streaming. I mean, who wouldn't want to stay home and stream? You look at some of the very successful streamers.
Yeah, exactly.
They put in 8 hours a day
streaming.
For them, it is a work day. I mean, I look at some of their schedules, and they do 8-hour streams. So it's not like, oh, I'm a streamer, I get to sit at home and do nothing. For them, that is their job.
Exactly.
They put in 8 hours of streaming a game almost every day, and that has got to be tiring. That's got to wear on you.
No, we understand his job isn't streaming. He's working for Twitch, but he will have more time, I would imagine. Now, he's not going to be working. He's not going to be in the office on Saturday because there was an awful bug that went wrong on Thursday afternoon. Like, that's not going to be happening, I would assume, anymore. He's going to.
But what I'm saying is, I think his first love is the streaming of the games.
Yeah.
I think that he got into this, and for him, the development of the game is more of the work. I think for him, he enjoys streaming. And so for him to go to Twitch and to maybe have more of the opportunity to do the streaming, I think that's what he's going to enjoy more.
Yeah. So we'll have to see, but we definitely wish him luck and thank him for his service to H1Z1. So there we go. On a very dark note to start the show. Not good news to start.
Maybe I should have changed around the order.
I think that's the biggest news. Map expansion.
That was one of the big things that came out. Yeah. And then here, this was actually some speculation, but I was put this in here because some of the actual designers and the developers of the game actually put comments in here. So I wanted to point to those. But there were people talking about how in the roadmap, is there going to be a bigger map? What is the map right now? How much bigger is the map going to get? And from what I got from the comments, it didn't seem like they're looking at the map expansions immediately. I mean, it's something that they're looking at doing, but I think it's going to be a little bit farther out. I think we're looking at more of like a year. Within the next year, we'll be looking at a map expansion. It seems like they're really focusing on the current map before they actually expand it.
Which I guess I'm okay with. A new map would be nice, but Brian, I mean, we can talk about firsthand how many other problems there are with the game that I'd rather have them be putting resources to rather than a map expansion. At this point, at least, there are just way too many core game problems. We'll talk about some of them a little bit later. That honestly, I would be pretty upset if right now they were talking about how much time and resources they're putting into another map. Because right now, the game doesn't need another map. The game needs working game modes, working vehicles, working guns, working all that other stuff. So we're gonna have to we'll have to see what goes on with that.
See, and that's the thing is the map. If you took the same amount of area that they put in, I mean, I keep bringing up GTA because that's the latest and greatest game, right? You look at the amount of area that they are able to put a ton of content into in a game like that. That is very possible in a game like this. They just need to get it to where there's more of that dynamic. You go from one area to another. It doesn't seem so much the same. And then one thing that they're looking at doing, and that was kind of brought out in this post, is that they're looking at going to DirectX 11.
Can you, Brian, you talk? I have a feeling not a lot of people know what DirectX is, and what can you do a little bit about what DirectX is and what that means for the game. What does updating mean?
All right, so if you look at what renders, let's say like water effects and fire effects and things like this, in DirectX 9, everything is much more pixelated. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have that smooth flow, that shine, that realness. And I think that's, like, if you look at the water, I mean, they did a pretty good job for what DirectX 9 is capable of doing in this game. But if you take an example from DirectX 11, the realness of what they can do with the skin textures. I mean, if you look at a game like GTA or some of the Final Fantasy series, they've always been into making the most possible rendering out of whatever engine they're on. If you look at it, DirectX 11, they'll be able to have much more of a realistic water effect. I think that's possibly what they were talking about with the dam. There will be water coming out of the dam that looks like it's flowing. One of the reasons I think they're waiting on that is they're waiting for the DirectX 11
compatibility. Yeah. DirectX.
That way, the water will actually look like water flowing out of it rather than like lines.
Yeah, going down.
Of what you assume is water.
Exactly. So it's DirectX. It's the Windows, like it renders that stuff for Windows. They're up to DirectX 12 now, I think.
Now, if you look at, actually, I was looking at an example that Final Fantasy had made.
Was it
for DirectX 12?
Okay.
And the amount of polygon count and just the amount of detail is so amazing that it looks like a movie. I mean, it looks like what they render and prepare for a movie is what they're actually doing in real time. And they showed an example of, here was a person who's kneeling on the ground.
Yeah, here, I'm playing it right now.
Okay, yeah, if you've got it there, for the people that are actually watching live, and we can put a link into our chat notes so you can kind of see what DirectX 12. They're not going to be in the foreseeable future putting out DirectX 12 in this game, but realistically they don't need to. DirectX 12 is so cutting edge that I just, and it would cut out a lot of their player base. Handy TV mentions it's only Windows 10. You would get it to where only people that have Windows 10, and I think Windows 8 supports DirectX 12. That's what I thought, but that will be DirectX 12. Mm-hmm. So they show an example here. If you go forward, this is actually a live view inside of DirectX 12.
Yeah, which shows
and you look
the
at
stuff rendering.
The shadowing. I mean, the thing, you're getting water, the shadowing, the way, just the effects, the physics. Mm-hmm. are what really make a difference. And so I think from them going to DirectX 9 to DirectX 12, you're going to get a lot more of that realism. Because for me, I really enjoy realism. Okay, so Handy TV is saying, yeah, no DirectX 12 and Windows 8. But Windows 10 will be a free upgrade from Windows 8. So if you have Windows 8 currently, you will be able to upgrade to Windows 10 when they do finally release it.
But pretty much, the upgraded version is going to allow them to render more things in higher quality in real time. That's essentially what the the upgrade from DirectX 9 to 11 will do. It'll allow a more real-time update. But the other thing you have to look at, Brian, is how that's going to affect PCs more. We have a lot of people in our group alone that play on very old computers. The computers that have problems running it with DirectX 9. They're running 25 frames a second on like low. I mean, they're going to have to address this because a free-to-play game, you're going to have a lot of people with older computers, younger kids that don't have access to, i5s and i7s. You're going to have them playing on, the dual-core, not the Celrons, but the Core 2 Duos from like the early, 2000s and stuff like that. That's what you're going to have a lot of people playing on. So that jump from DirectX 9 to 11, I think, is going to be a real problem for a large majority of the people playing this game.
Well, I mean, imagine if you look at something like World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. That player base has continuously upgraded from like Windows XP and before. If you look at what that game was running on, and there's a lot of people who haven't upgraded their computers that much since World of Warcraft was released. And these people are wanting to play, but then there's people like us who have newer hardware, and we're wanting the latest and greatest. And so they've got to come up with a balance of, all right, how much backwards compatibility and what's the low end that we want to be able to have this game run on versus, so they're going to probably want to keep DirectX 9 in there. I don't know if they're going to force everyone to go to DirectX 11. And then Handy TV is saying that with DirectX 11, they're actually improved performance on older hardware. And the same thing with DirectX 12. If you look at DirectX 12, it actually runs better on the same hardware than DirectX 11. So it's not necessarily that, but there are cards that will not run DirectX.
That's more what I was getting 11. Into. There's cards that cannot run. Like I have a laptop.
The video card has to be compatible with DirectX 11. Anything that is DirectX 11 will be compatible with DirectX 12.
So I believe...
So that's not necessarily back and forth.
I think like OBS is DirectX 11. And I've got a computer that I wanted to run OBS on for something secondary, and I couldn't install it because my graphics card, which is just on a lot of laptops, it's that Intel HD graphics card, didn't support DirectX 11 or whatever version of DirectX it was running. This computer, mind you, isn't that old. It's probably 7 years old, which is old, but it's an i3. So it's something that people could definitely be playing on. So there may be a challenge there. That upgrade to DirectX 11 could isolate some people.
See, and I actually tried to run this game H1Z1 on my laptop, and it wouldn't do it. And I assumed it was the video card. And I don't know if they've made any changes or if it's something that maybe if I tried to install it again, that it would actually run. But I've heard people saying they were running it on some pretty old laptops, so I figured maybe it would actually run on mine.
Yeah, I know we've got guys, and I think I like Jello in our group plays it on an older computer, and he's got something like his average is like 25 frames a second. Like that's just what he plays on, and that's how he's gotten used to playing the game. Meanwhile, I'm playing at like almost 100 plus. I know you're somewhere around there too. We've got guys in our group that are at 200 frames. It's pretty wild. So we'll have to see, and I imagine they'll do something right with the DirectX thing, so that people with older hardware aren't totally isolated from the game.
But I think it is needed because I don't know how they're developing their everything they're putting out there. They need to be making it so the graphics are a high enough resolution and just are able to have that realistic look. I really hope they're not making everything skinned based off of what looks okay on DirectX 9. I hope they're actually developing this stuff in DirectX 11. And what it sounded like from the comment was they're actually internally rendering things. They said the DirectX renderer 11 renderer code is up and running but not complete. So they're going to be replacing the DirectX 9 renderer. And I'm really hoping that that's going to make the realism of the game go up. As far as it doesn't have to be 100% realistic. I don't expect it to be like, oh man, that looks like a real mountain there. I'm going to sit here and stare at it for an hour. No, but I want it to be to where you're playing the game and it's not distractingly fake.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. That's our bit of a tech talk there, which I think may have been over a lot of people's heads there, but that's what's going on with some. It all kind of rolls together. You're talking about map expansions. and you need the newer versions to do that. So, Brian, you want to talk a little bit about the May 1st updates and what that the final May 1st update? Because last week it was very bare bones. We didn't really know a lot last week. The list was very small. It was very basic. So let's go right into that.
And so the first thing that people will notice is they actually did a player wipe.
Yeah.
So they did a full world wipe, player wipe. And so that started everybody fresh. And we've been waiting for that. I mean, we pretty much went through and we were just not playing. Other than BRs, we weren't playing for the last couple of days before this wipe. So I was kind of nervous that they weren't going to be doing it that week, the day that they did. I was worried they were going to push it off more, and I didn't know how many people would have played for that whole amount of time.
Yeah, I think I almost feel like this player wipe was kind of like a grasp to like try to pull some users back, and it appeared that it worked. There are many more people. There's more people playing now than there was at this time last week. So,
but of course that trend always goes down. I mean, it's a temporary thing, but I hope they're putting enough things in here to where it will maintain some of that player base. And then one thing they added in this was a female character.
Yeah, which a lot of members in our group, of course, took advantage of, being the people that they are.
So that's the thing is you always wonder who's going to be a female, because if you look in WoW, I compare a lot of things to that, but if you look in WoW, there were a lot of guys who played female characters, and so you couldn't hear their voice unless you were in a clan and had some like TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or something like that. In this game, you almost assume that every single player is a male, even if they're a girl, girl character, unless they say something in game and it sounds like a girl. But with this, they did get the female character out there. I did hear some negative feedback of, it's not a very attractive looking girl, or it's kind of a manly looking girl, whatever. My wife.
Is this what we're focusing on? Like this is the focus of it. Wow, the girl doesn't look too much like a girl. Wow.
I mean, they want a Playboy model.
Running around in
post-apocalypse,
in a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, okay.
They want full makeup. They want the eyeliner. They want everything.
Wonderful.
If you look at something like The Walking Dead, they always constantly have different clothes. Their hair is always somewhat done as far as the females. They never look like they've been just really living rough for months. And so I wouldn't mind if she looks totally rough. She doesn't need to have armpit hair and all that. That's fine. And I don't need the realism there. But, with this, I think that they got it enough to where, all right, this is a female character that she looks like a female to me. And so, I'm sure we'll be perfectly happy with playing that. Now, they said that there are limited number of voices that the female character has. Mm-hmm. I have heard them in there, but how many voices are there anyways?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you hear like, and oh, and
exactly. Like that's the stuff. Really, like
are there voices that we don't know about? I mean, I don't think they actually ever say anything.
No, I don't. I mean, they jump. That's about it.
And so, yeah, they're saying there's limited voice for the female character. So I assume that it's just more of things that we don't really notice anyways. Mm-hmm. So she's not making. I would have to really look to see what voices are missing.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even pay attention to them. Like I honestly couldn't even tell you.
And then one thing that, what do you think on this? They made it so that you can't just go back and forth. So let's say you die, you can't say, "Oh, all right, this time I want to spawn as a female." You actually have to delete your character and start out as a female.
Yeah, this is good. I just feel like that would just people will constantly be switching back and forth. Now, I mean, how important is the model to your gameplay, Brian? I mean, for me, it doesn't really bother me much. Like, I don't care if you're a male or female. It's not going to affect my gameplay in any way.
Yeah,
I'm still playing as a male in the game.
I did run into people that were using voice changers in game to try to get sympathy. There was a guy using a voice changer to try to sound female. But it makes no sense to me. But hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just it's just like feeding into this culture, right? Like the Reddit culture. It's just like feeding into them, right? With allowing the people doing the voice changers and being girls and all that other stuff. I don't know. It's feeding into that a little bit. That's I don't know. I just feel like I'm running around and like you said, people are just running around with voice changers. And it's like, really? Like this is a zombie survival game and this is what you're doing?
Well, and with me, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if it's a male or a female. Now, a lot of guys do actually care, though. Like, some guys will try to bring a girl back to the base because she's a girl. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you telling them where our base is, first of all? It just... some guys totally give into that. For me, it's like, I don't care if...
You can play with us either way.
Yeah, I mean, if either you bring them into the clan, then they can come back to the base, or you kill them.
It's simple as that, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that is your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, girls do have a sway, so I do understand why these guys are doing it, but I'm not going to try to use that to my benefit.
Okay.
So, anyways, that's a new thing we're dealing with now that there's actually female-looking characters in the game.
Wonderful.
Now, everyone received a Daybreak Games shirt.
This is a cool shirt. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of this.
It's bright red.
This is cool.
And it has their logo on it. Now, why do people want to wear bright red shirts? Everybody always wants to wear something really bright when we're doing Battle Royale and things like that. For me, I always want to wear camo, and everybody's like, oh, wear this bright colored shirt. I don't know if everyone else realizes this, but if I have a bright colored shirt on, it makes it so the enemy can see me as well.
See, I don't do it in Battle Royale. I normally just use it in the... just in the regular server. I mean, in that case, we don't really stealth around as much on the server. Like, we're in a car. So, you're not going to sneak up on somebody in a car either way. So that's normally when but in Battle Royale, I always do I have like the swamp camo or whatever it is. That's like a dark green or something like that. And that's what I use there. I would never wear... Why would you wear a bright color? It's like the people that wear the red motorcycle helmets. Like, you're not doing yourself any good. You're just totally... Yeah. You're sticking out anywhere. You're not blending in with anything, so... not wearing it there, but the shirt is cool. It's a plain red shirt, and it's just got the eye with the gear and the sun rising over it on it. So that's
any unique skin that we can get like this, it's only for players that are from here and before.
Exactly.
I like to get anything that the people who buy the actual release of the game are not going to have.
Exactly.
Because it says, hey, I was here then.
Exactly. It'll be something, and hopefully once they get the Steam Marketplace up, it's not going to be something that you can trade. This will be something like, okay, you had to have played at this time, and now you have that shirt. The other thing is the first-person Battle Royale is now available. Have you tried it yet?
Yes, and really? I actually like it. Now,
go ahead. Okay, let me first say, I don't like first-person. I always play in third-person. Even in gunfights, I don't go to first-person. I hate it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
See, but I realize people hate that. And so I realized they're having as much of a disadvantage by it that I am. And so when we went in and we queued in, because this is considered hard mode, right? I think that's what they're kind of classifying it as, hard mode BR. And so we went in as a group, and we had one of the newer guys in our clan who was running around with us. And I said, all right, I'm in the second row of houses, because he was in there with us. Second row of houses, the blue house. I'm right in front. So I tell him. He comes around the corner, instantly shoots me. I'm like, dude.
Nailed it.
He's like, I don't know all your voices yet. I was like, how's this a voice? I'm in the second row of houses. The blue house has nothing to do with voice.
Oh, God.
So I got to experience just about 5 minutes of a first-person VR. But from when I was able to play, I do think that would be a lot of fun because it really makes the people at the end, when everybody's usually scoping around trees, it makes you get out there. It makes you actually get out from behind the tree, get to where you can see. People can't sit there and hide in bushes constantly. They have to actually come out of it enough to where they can see. Yeah,
that's a big thing that Brian... We did that a lot. You sit in a bush and you just kind of sit there with your Alt key pressed down and you're swinging around and you're looking all... You can't really do that. And even it's the same thing with driving. You can't really look behind you as easily. You have such a different perspective, and I don't like that. It's like complete tunnel vision. I think about it like this. It's like a horse running with blinders. All they can see is directly in front of them, and that's what it is in first-person view. You're not going to see a guy on the left side of the house. It is real life, but it's a video game. It doesn't have to be real life. I'm okay with that. I mean, you've got peripheral vision.
Yeah, but I think you can actually, there's a setting in there to adjust how wide your vision is. And so
Okay.
maybe you could try it widening that.
Maybe I should look at that then, because honestly, I feel like way
Then you
too.
don't feel like it's so much tunnel vision.
Exactly. It's like I'm like, this is all I see. There can be somebody walking in behind me. I'm not going to see them until I'm dead, and that's why that third person view, you can see a little bit behind you, and it gives you that nice perspective. But I have noticed more. A lot of group members have been telling me, or clan members have been telling me, when you get into a gunfight, switch into first person. You know, you'll do better. You'll do better. And now, if time permits, I switch into first person, and I've noticed that.
See, and if you
was a
went
little
and did
better.
some first-person BRs, you may find that your game has improved that much more. I mean,
Yeah.
BRs, first of all, for me, really improved my gun skills.
Yeah, and originally it was
And
the
I
same
think
thing
this
with
would
me.
take you to that next level. I mean, it's almost like we should go as a group just to make everybody go into first person and learn how to shoot first person.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I should do that. See, and it's weird because I play first-person shooters all the time, like Call of Duty, but that's not a game where you stealth, right? The stealth aspect really doesn't matter. You die
Yeah.
9 times, who cares? You're going to respawn and run up the same path and die again. But with this game, the stealth is such a huge point that I feel like playing in first person, you've lost like 25% of the game, seeing behind you and
Yeah.
everything else. So it's not that I don't like first person, but for this style of game, I don't feel like first person gives you an advantage unless you're shooting.
But I do like the idea that they put that game mode in there
Of course, yeah.
to give you a little bit of variety.
Exactly, and like you said, maybe learning or upping your skills, being able to shoot in first person may also help as well. So,
And one thing they
that's
did add is they added an upgraded interior in the off-roader.
yes,
And this is that sense of realism. If you look at the original skins that all the vehicles had, you'd look down at the dash and it was just like a really pixelated, rough cut. And so I think that this is for something that they initially put out and they knew that they'd have to come back to later. I hope that they continue to do this, because one thing that they did mention is that they were going to be doing, and I don't know if this was in the notes here, but they were looking at doing it where they'd have generated interiors for buildings. Coming up to where some of these things are more realistic, you don't have so much of the same. So when you get in a car and you go first person, you actually can see things in the car and it kind of has that real feel. These are important for the player like me who really wants to get into the game.
yeah, you're big into the immersion.
Yeah,
I think more
for
than
me. I want to feel like I'm there.
Yeah, I think more than others. I think you've got your immersion is a very important thing for you when you play a game.
And for me, that's one reason why GTA 5 for me was like, wow, this is great, because there was that immersion factor there. You could just walk down the street, go into buildings, do whatever you want. Like, this game isn't there yet. You have to go to points.
Yeah.
It's not like you can say, I'm going to run around downtown and just kind of explore, because you're going to run out of things to explore pretty quick. All right, here's this building, which is the same as that other building next to it. There's a lot of that same look and feel from building to building if they're the same shell. Once they come up with this unique skins and have a generated interior, you're going to actually feel like, okay, this house is different than that last one. I don't look in these 3 points to find what I'm looking for. I'm actually going to have to search around and figure out where things are and search those things.
Yeah. So now a few other things that they fixed. The green and brown camo beanies now have the correct textures, which these are just little things that they're doing. This is a decent thing for restraints now. So if you are restrained, which is like their new handcuff system, you can no longer pick up items, interact with doors, or search containers. So I don't really think you can do anything anymore.
But that was an issue, is if you handcuff somebody and there's a loot bag next to them, they could still search and take things from that loot
exactly,
bag.
and then the stuff would just be in their inventory, and you're like, hey, now you got to kill this guy. There's like, no, you restrain them, and then they just take take everybody else's stuff. 380 rounds will now spawn in Battle Royale. They'll spawn in third-person and first-person Battle Royales now. And the recipe for yeast now gives you 2 yeast instead of 10. So they're cranking that down a little bit, tweaking that stuff a little bit.
Because there was such a huge problem with base rating. I mean, you were able to create so much yeast so quickly that you could create ethanol fuel just at a ridiculous rate.
Yeah, which we talked about last week being a major problem. So they've tweaked that a little bit, and it's every time they add something new to the game. We saw it with the recurve bow was the best example. They're like, this item's going to be kind of rare. They were everywhere, and this is just.
And I remember
similar with
people
this stuff.
complaining, "Man, those things aren't rare. They said they were going to be rare."
Now you can't
Just
find
give it a little
them.
bit of time.
And now you can't find them. So that's been tweaked as well. The handcuffs are now actually visualized in a game. It just looks like a little bit of a key, kind of like a rough key there. So that's now visualized, and you can pick that up. There's a metal doorway, Brian, that we're actually using in our base, which is nice. So it looks like a wall, and you can put a metal door, and there's just a metal door in the middle of it. So what we're doing in our base is we have it where we had it surrounded in metal walls, and in one of those metal walls we had a door, and once you open that up, it led up to a foundation that had a gate on it. So that allowed us to give us like a double protection. The gates are kind of wacky. We had that problem with our old base. You had to like jump and click up at the top to open and close the gates.
Now they did fix that though. If you look, I actually tested this last night.
Okay.
You can go and click now on almost any part of the gate, and it will open and close.
Oh, that's good. Because that was a huge problem.
We were running into the problem where you'd have to sit there and jump, and you try to click the very top point of the gate, and you'd sit there and jump 5 times sometimes just trying to close the gate. They've now made it to where you can just go next to the gate, click any part of it, and it closes, which I don't know why it didn't do that in the very first part of it.
Well, that's good.
I mean, it was so frustrating, but now they've fixed that. And so from what I've read, the gates with the doors in them, so the kind of the wall with the door in the middle, like what we've had in one of the sections, is actually not as strong as the full gate.
Yeah.
And so you need to keep that in mind if you're trying to make a base that's as strong as possible, that's anti-raiding. It's not going to be raid proof, but if you're looking for something that's as strong against people trying to raid it, you might want to go with the metal gates. And I think you can still do the double gate and wall. So you may find that you could have a gate and a wall with a door in it. When you open the door, then you can open the gate after that. That may be a good thing to get that double protection in.
Yeah, which I don't think.
I think you can still do that. We haven't done that yet.
We haven't done that yet. But it's nice that you can do that, and it looks a little bit nicer too than the gates on the. Always talking about visuals. It looks a lot nicer, especially if like our garage or whatever. It'd be nice to have just a regular door into it as well. And now you can do all that stuff with that.
So Handy TV's saying no double gates or walls, so they must have fixed that. Because a lot of people were doing the double gates. We would have it to where if you'd open one of the gates, you could then put another gate there and then close the gate. And so you'd have 2 gates. So they're saying you can't stack any gates or walls inside of gates. So that must be something. But I think that's better because people taking advantage of a glitch like that, I don't think should be, what determines whether it's harder to raid their base. They need to make it to where the whole playing field is level, and then figure out how hard they want the rating system to be.
Mm-hmm. So a few more quick things on this. We talked about it last week. The biofuel and the ethanol were just doing massive amounts of damage. Both the biofuel and the ethanol, the damage has now been cut in half when you're trying to do damage on structures. So that means you can need to use double the explosives to blow up structures now. And the recipe for ethanol now creates 1 instead of 5, which, at one point we had, like 2,000 ethanol or something like that. It was just an insane amount. We were blowing up everything on our base. So now it looks like that's going to be a little more rare, especially with the yeast not yielding as much every time you craft that. And the flashbangs are in the game now, which is something that's cool. And they explode 3 seconds after you throw them, and it will blind anybody within a 7-meter radius. Now, it doesn't say...
I think it's broken.
Okay.
Because we've tried the grenades work.
They do,
but
yes.
We've tried to use the flashbangs, and I don't know of anyone that's actually successfully used them yet.
And the other thing that they don't say in this is how long does it last? Like, is this
how long does the blindness last?
Yeah, exactly. Is this a 10-second blindness or like a 5-second blindness? The difference between 5 and 10 seconds when somebody's flashbanging you, it may not sound like a lot, but 5 seconds could mean you have a chance to kill them. 10 seconds mean no, you're dead. They're going to have 10 seconds to free roam shoot at you.
No, I think it's more of an initial. I'm guessing it'd probably be 2 to 3 seconds.
You think 2 to 3 seconds? Okay. Well, so
just 3 seconds in the initial firefight is actually a long amount of time.
It is. Anything is a long amount of time when somebody's got a gun pointed at you and you can't see them.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're going for. I actually had it to where I was in the police station and I had no bullets, and all I had was a flash grenade, and I tried to throw it in the doorway as someone was getting ready to come in, and it did not work.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is it going to fade? Because 10 seconds with a fade may be reasonable. If it's like a hard flash and then
I bet you it's going to be a
fading
fade
back
to where
in.
it regains.
So then it's probably not going to be 2 or 3 seconds, because at 2 or 3 seconds the fade would start instantly. It'll probably be more something like 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then maybe a fade at 5 seconds, and then fades all the way up. But that's going to be something I guarantee you they tweak, because it's probably going to be too much or too little now, and it won't do much.
Well, and until we can actually test it.
Yeah.
So now they're talking about in chat some of those doors, because we were talking about the way doors work. We actually had somebody, and someone was asking, can you do a double door system where you can put a door inside of an interior wall? We actually ran into a clan, a red clan on our server, to where they had put a gate inside. So there was a room that kind of made, I guess, a hallway, when you initially came in the door. Mm-hmm. And at the very beginning, when you first entered the base, there was a door there. But then inside on the other side of the room where that ended, there was another gate there. And we couldn't figure out how they did that, because we weren't able to do any of that. We weren't able to get a door to place. And so I don't know if that's been fixed. I'll have to ask their clan leader if he's had any luck or if he's tried to build that again.
Interesting.
Because there are ones that show a wall inside of the base, but I don't know how old some of these things are. I think they're all pre-wipe.
Yeah, what are you talking about, these posts right here that just got posted? Yeah, these are 2 weeks old, so this is before.
Yeah, this one is, but in the Red Clan was pre-wipe that we saw that.
Okay.
And I haven't seen anyone who actually has done it since.
Yeah.
Since the wipe has happened. They have redone how everything is placed, so that is a possibility.
Yeah, now their construction system changed a little bit. There's a larger no-place radius around the bases now.
And this is something I actually complained about last week.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it away, because this is all your stuff.
Because we were running into an issue where someone could just place a foundation immediately up against our base and build stairs up and then jump over. And so they've made this no placement to where it is a buffer around your base. Now you can build in the buffer. So if I wanted to place something directly along the foundation or outside of my base, I have the ability to do that. But someone else can't come and place an object directly along the outside of my base, because a lot of people were putting structures and then trying to jump over walls. There was a lot of things that were happening as side effects of them allowing people to build right along anyone else. And so I think for this is going to make people actually go through the doorways more. Of course, with people that are teleporting and no clipping and things like that, they'll still get in their old ways. But for people that are doing legitimate raids of either hopping over walls, which is a legitimate way to raid, or trying to place things to get over walls, this is going to cut down on that, and I think that's good. Yeah. One big change they made is if the owner of the foundation does not log in for a set amount of time, and right now they're doing 2 weeks, the foundation gets reverted to unowned and can be claimed by someone else. So you'll see some of these different bases, if people quit playing on the server and they're just sitting there, it'll give you a reason to go up and kind of check those gates, see if you can go and claim that base, because you may be able to if they haven't played for long enough. Right now, wipes happen every reasonable amount of time. We know that no base is 2 weeks old currently. So right now there's no reason to check, but I think once you start seeing bases that look like they're abandoned, there may be a reason to go see if you can take ownership of the base.
Yeah. Now,
another thing is if the owner deletes their character, it will go unowned immediately. So this allows for groups to hand off management of their bases to other players. So let's say someone placed the foundation on our base. Let's say we didn't want to have to go through and wait 2 weeks or figure out a way to transfer that ownership. The person who placed all those things could go and delete their character right now. Then I could instantly go and take ownership of the base, of all of the base.
How?
Now that's something I haven't seen yet. We haven't actually tried it.
That's the thing.
So I don't know if there's going to be a prompt.
There's all this stuff in here. Like, what is there just going to be like a big question mark around the whole base? I mean, there's no like GUI for the base that's going to be like, hey, this is your base. Would you like to name it? And
so Handy TV is saying that is broken. So that must be why we've not ever seen it anywhere. The claiming is broken on live, which is the one that we play on, but they're fixing it on the test server. So they just did a patch 2 hours ago for that.
Okay. Which is up now. Now there were some test issue servers resolved as well, and you can now interact with everything in your inventory. That I guess was a problem on the test servers. The night vision will turn on and off as intended with I believe it's the P key or something like that. and the night vision goggles now fit on the female model properly. So that's all been updated in the test server. So it's nice. Now in these patch notes, we're going to see what they updated for the real server and what they updated for the test server.
And not everything's going to be so much of a guess, because there will be an opportunity for people to actually see on the test server what is going to be released. Which I think, so there'll be less of, oh, we don't know yet, or this is things that have been they put in here in the patch notes, but we have no idea what they're talking about.
But I think we should probably be playing on the test server. Me and you should get together at least once a week and go on the test server and see what they do.
So now Handy TV is saying that in there will be kind of like when you're going and opening up something, claim deck foundation. So it should be a prompt like that. So you should know immediately that it is something you can claim.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where all this info is coming from. But yeah, I hope that's how it's working.
Now, Handy TV and Phasefire actually do a podcast, and so they dig into a lot of
the game stuff.
Yeah, like Phasefire goes through and looks at the game files to try to find what content is going to be put in.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of good digging like that.
Well, good. So that'll be interesting to see once that's implemented how that will actually work. And that's going to be nice for us, especially like we had our problem with our old base where people were just placing a bunch of things. It was just not a good sign. So that should be updated now.
So now there is this new patch that's coming out in 2 days, and it's not going to be a normal patch. This is their new quality of life patch that they're only going to be doing, I think 1 week per month.
Yeah, so this is the first quality of life that we've seen. They talked about it, right? But this is the first one they're actually implementing.
Yes, and I think that this is a great idea. This is definitely something, because if they get on this pace of constantly trying to put out something new all the time, they're going to have so many things, so many bugs built up and things on the back burners that it's going to all come, I think, tumbling down on them. And so this is one of those times where they can go back and kind of fix some of those little problems that could just sit there in the background for a long time. And as they put on here, smooth out some of the rough edges of things that we've been either has been added in the past, but they never were able to make it work smoothly.
Yeah.
But I think that for this, it'll be interesting to see what they change. They said that this patch is going to include the Steam Marketplace, because they were saying that the Steam Marketplace was going to be released previously.
But I think, isn't it currently implemented? Isn't it currently in the game, just not implemented?
It's in the game, but it's not.
It's not live. So, okay.
So they added. So they're going to be adding the game on the Steam Marketplace, so players can now buy, sell, and trade items from their inventory, like skins, and they can sell them to other players. So this will be a good chance for us to try to initially trade some of those skins. I think a lot of us have some of the same skins.
Yeah, a bit too much of the same skins.
Yeah, and so that'll be an opportunity for people to maybe, if you don't have this one certain skin that I have 10 of, but we've talked about this before. It'll be interesting to see. Now, one thing that Handy TV did mention that they're going to have undue placement of deck foundation,
which is going to be big.
Yeah, because that's one thing that has been really tough when you're trying to build some of these monster bases. And there is a monster base that's coming up in our server that is it's over 12 foundations. And so some people were looking at it last night. And it's gigantic. We haven't figured out which clan actually has it yet, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see how many people are actually building that base.
Well,
if they'll be able to maintain that size of a base.
I mean, we did challenge people to come to our server and play with us, so I guess that's what we should have expected, right? Because there was only the hacking clan is back. That's a thing. It was funny because
I'm actually going to be talking about that a little bit.
It was funny because the day after the wipe, we were on the day of the wipe, and we were instantly, we had our shacks built up, and we were working on getting stuff, and everybody was saying, "Oh my God, the hacker clan! I ran by like 4 of them, and they weren't hacking. And I was like, well, that's because these hacks that they're paying $15 a month for haven't been updated yet.
Well, we instantly knew when they were updated.
Oh yeah, I mean it was like I want to say it was like 24 to 48 hours after the game was updated. These hacks were just updated, and it was like.
Actually, I have a video. I don't know if you want to play that.
Yeah, you
want
to do that now? Let's see.
And so it's towards the bottom.
Yeah, there it is.
Hacking clans on Bloodscore, and then I put this on YouTube. We'll have it in our show notes for people that are listening.
Yeah. So here we go. We're playing it right now. All right. So you are now running.
Okay, so we initially got killed, and so I'm running back because I'm making reports. I wanted to report as many people as I could with this clan. But if you look at this, the second that I come into rendering range, there are shots. No one can see me where you're hearing shots, but no one can see me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I immediately run behind a tree. And even behind the tree, if you look, I'm trying to figure out even where they're standing. I can't even see where they're at, and they're shooting at me. So I move, I get a shot to the left, I move to the right, and then I get a shot from the right, and then I'm dead.
Exactly.
This definitely was a hacking clan. They're using ESP, so I got video of this. I sent it in a report. But this is a whole clan that a majority of the people in that clan are hacking.
And that's our problem. It's not, we can, since we've got, and I used to say 15 to 20 people. That number's gone drastically down. Since we've got like 10 people playing, we can combat a single hacker. We can't combat a group of 10 people hacking. There's just no way. We can deal with one or two hackers. We can't deal with 10 people hacking. It's impossible.
So someone asked, is it possible that the shooter was prone and in bushes? No. This was a group that was actually at our base.
Hacking.
Yeah, they had they were using speed hacks and they killed us earlier. And so they didn't even know where I was coming from. And I just became within what would be ESP range of the base to where I would show up on their ESP and they instantly started shooting at me. They were actually at our base at the time, which I couldn't even see yet. So that is how far away that they were shooting at us. And I had a full list of their names. There were about 5 or 6 of them in that group that I had every single one of their names and I reported them. But if you go up, one thing that I did do before the wipe is I put out a call to all clans that are on Reddit. And I said, I want all clans to come to our server. And I think it's been pretty successful. If you look at the number of clans that we have on Bloodscore now, there are a lot of different clans. Mm-hmm. Someone said that there is a hacking clan that's on there, a friendly hacking clan, and they don't exactly know what to think of that.
Which we had on, it was funny, on, what was our initial server called? Walker Empire? We had established a friendly, relationship with a hacking clan on there. Like, they didn't mess with us, we didn't mess with them. That was kind of our relationship, and I wonder if it's going to be something similar with this group.
Well, see, the thing is and we had somebody in our clan that was trying to make alliances, and I said since that situation happened in the past, I've told people we do not make no fire agreements with anyone. I don't want it to where we need to not shoot these people. Hey, if people want to be friendly and talk, they're more than welcome to do that. But if there is no agreement with me as the clan leader, with anyone else, any other clan leaders, that we will not fire upon them. Because I get enough people messaging me saying, hey, someone from your clan killed someone from my clan. That's life. You're more than welcome to shoot him back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to say leave my clan alone, because that's not what this game is about. This clan, the whole thing with the clan is when we're out and about, if we see you, there's a good chance we're going to shoot you. If you see us, you're more than welcome. If you want to talk to us, then say, hey, come up with your hands up and say, hey, I just want to chat with you guys for a bit. There's a lot of people that will do that. But yeah, no peace treaties. I have said that we will hold back on initial raids in the beginning to give some people time to set up. And it's not like this is all a fresh wipe. So it's not like
we have an upper hand.
We don't have an upper hand in this. We just know the server. I mean, we know
the game. We're comfortable with the people we play with, and I would say our group worked pretty damn quick. I logged on the day of the wipe mid-afternoon, and we had already had one of our clan members. He had like 5 or 6 shacks already up, and they were already gathering materials, working on getting a foundation up. So, the nice thing that we have, our group, they flow really well, right? This guy didn't need direction to say, hey, go do this, go do that. He just knew, all right, well, I need to get some shelters up first so that we can put our stuff in chests. Well, then he got it in the chests, and we did some more stuff, and we were able to do that. That was Strez in our group that was doing that, and he actually, without him, we wouldn't have had. We got our stronghold with that. We got our foot in the door with what he did.
Now, last night with these hackers, they flew into our base or clipped in their base, however they're doing it, and they
I like
blew
your
off all
flow
the interior
anime.
doors.
I love your flow anime. They flew into our base. Like you wiped them down into the base. That's great.
Well, that's the thing is there. It is possible they're teleporting to the top
And then jumping down.
and then dropping in. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it. Whether they're going up to the platform, clipping through the wall. That's another way. There's multiple ways that they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they clip into. They could clip through the gate, walk up the steps, clip through the gate, and they're in. But that's the problem is they somehow got into our base, not through legitimate means, and then they blew off all the interior doors and they clear everything out. And when you're doing something like that, and then they're teleporting around, ESPing, you get to a point, and this is something we've run into in the past. It's like you don't even want to bother messing with the base for a while after that, because they're not getting in by anything that you have any way of defending against. We keep hearing that there is auto ban in place, and I think that there is some auto ban in place, but I don't know how sensitive it is at the moment.
It can't be that sensitive.
Well, and one thing that I really want to see, and any developer that is listening, please make a Twitter feed that's dedicated to the bans. First of all, this will cut back on people on Reddit saying, this is the same ban that I saw earlier this morning. They're repeating bans every however many hours. Put out your feed of this ban is happening. Maybe you can batch them to where every 5 bans, you can do just names. Every 5 to 10 bans,
it puts a tweet out with 5-10 names.
A tweet out with those names in it. So it's not, if it's something that's happening super quick, it doesn't happen all the time.
Well, you can't do that all the time. I mean, Twitter will block that. But what other games have this? Because I've seen this before. Something else has a ban feed.
Yeah, there are one, and I don't remember what game, but I remember we did look at one, and they had a ban feed. I would love to see that, because then I can say, all right, I reported these 5 guys, these 6 guys,
and here they are.
I want to go see if they've been banned yet, because I've never seen the names of people that I've requested to be banned.
Yeah, and it's blatant hacking. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like this auto ban system, I understand.
I send in a screenshot. I send in video of it. I sent in, they killed us multiple times. There were reports. Mm-hmm. They were shooting us from out of range. It's just, what are you going to do? I can report it. I'd love to see, an hour later, 4 hours later, a day later, these people were banned. So I can have that internal satisfaction of knowing that there is a point in me reporting these things.
Exactly. So there we go. That would be good. And honestly, Brian, I don't know if you've played more than me recently, but I haven't seen any of these auto ban measures actually working in any sense.
No, there was someone who said that they saw.
Not saying they're not, but
someone within a reasonable amount of time that was banned. But I don't know if any of the auto bans are being messaged out.
It's possible.
Because most of these messages that I see are all custom messages that people have typed.
Yeah, they're all like puns.
So that's the thing is, if these auto bans are happening, how would we know if they don't put some sort of system to say, all right, this was banned, this was banned?
Exactly.
There's more reason for them to put out a system like this that actually announces the ban somehow.
Yeah. Brian, you did a segment that we talked about doing for a while, Clan Spotlight. You recorded one. You recorded it today or last night?
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay, so you recorded it yesterday.
Actually, yeah, it was yesterday.
Go ahead. So you're going to talk a little bit about it in the Spotlight, but quickly, for people listening live, what is the Clan Spotlight?
So the Clan Spotlight is where we take one person from our clan and we kind of let you know who they are, maybe what they do in real life. There's a lot of people that either we talk about on the podcast, or maybe you play with them in the clan and you know their character name, you know their voice, but you don't know anything about them. And it's not like we want to go around. I'm not going to go into TeamSpeak and say to everybody, hey, what do you do? Who's your dad? What does he do? This is something where this gives them an opportunity, if they want to, they can tell us more about them. And we're going to be doing one of these per week.
Okay, so you want to roll into that now then?
Yep, you can play it. It's got an intro and everything.
All right, here we go. So it's time for the Clan Spotlight.
First Clan Spotlight. This is an opportunity for you to get to know members of the Infection Clan. And for our first Spotlight, I would like to introduce Drew LeClaire. In game, what might people know you as?
I'm Whitetail in game.
Whitetail. And you are from Canada, one of many Canadians. I'm always surprised at how many Canadians we have in our clan.
We're a friendly bunch.
Yeah, you are the friendliest of our group. You put on here that you are currently near the capital of Canada, and most people in America may not know what that is.
So the capital city is Ottawa. Essentially, it would be north of Syracuse or Watertown, New York. If you go a couple hours north of there, you'd hit Ottawa. But I'm actually in Quebec, just across another bridge right on the border between the capital city and the province of Quebec. So
now, you were born just in northern Quebec, right?
yeah, I was born pretty far up north on a military base, actually, because my old man is he's Canadian military. So
now, how do you pronounce that? You put on here it's Chicoutimi?
Yeah, it's Chicoutimi.
Chicoutimi.
I guess First Nations, northern Quebec is where the origin of that name comes from. Some people have a hard time pronouncing it.
You actually work for an online company in your real day job, right? For huntercourse.com. And so you guys do online training for boating, hunting, ATVs, and snowmobiles. So you were saying that you guys can actually get people licensed in these things, not only in Canada, but also all of North America.
Yeah, so it's essentially like an online course. So instead of doing your hunting license in person in a classroom, do all your learning through the computer, through your phone or your tablet. Do it for most provinces and most states as well, so it's across North America. We do hunting, boating, ATV, and snowmobile, depending on what state or province you're in.
Does that kind of influence, you have a love for hunting and shooting and things like that. Is that one thing that drew you to H1Z1?
I'm really into archery and I'm really into hunting, but I'm also really into zombies. I was just cruising around on YouTube, and I can't remember which clip it was, but there was a guy running around shooting zombies in the forehead with a bow. And right away I was like, oh, I definitely have to play this game. Let's just do it. And then one thing led to another, and I'm here now.
You had put on here, you were talking about one of your most memorable moments in H1Z1. This has to do with one of our more colorful characters that we have in our clan. I don't know if you wanted to tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was fairly new to infection. I think I had just gotten my tag changed so that in-game I was infected Whitetail. It was when our base was over on the gorge by the church in Pleasant Valley. It was back on Walker Empire back in, I believe it was February, maybe early March. And I was running towards the base in TeamSpeak, all the protocol, the way it's supposed to be done in clan. Notified everybody, hey, I'm running towards, I'm going to be crossing the lake, I'm being chased by a bear. And Ferment is crossing the lake on the other side. Instantly headshots done, one quick shot. You know how good he is with a 308.
Yeah.
And so right away I'm like, oh, nobody called, jump check or anything. And he runs over and starts looting. And I'm like, dude, I can see your name. And he goes, no, it said tortillas. It wasn't you. And I'm sitting there going, dude, I can see you looting me. Like,
you're looting right now.
But no, it's all good. Ferment and I, it's water under the bridge now. We're good.
Some other games that you play, now these other ones don't really seem post-apocalyptic or zombie related, but what are some of these other games that you play?
So I don't really game very much, actually. I recently got back into it because I built a decent enough computer so that I could work from home occasionally. I played Diablo a lot growing up as a kid, and so I had to put in for Diablo 3. And I'm also really into history and like wars and stuff like that. And so I play a tank simulator called World of Tanks. It's also a free game. It's pretty... if you can imagine battle royale, but you're in a tank, and essentially the beginning of the battle, you might have to drive for 5 minutes before you see somebody. It's that realistic. Like it's a legitimate tank battle. It's pretty fun.
Cool. And if you put on here Minesweeper too, don't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
A lot of us got our start on Minesweeper. That's one thing that we've done a little bit more recently here is it seems like we've been playing some other games as a clan. There are those moments in H1Z1 where you have to take a break.
For sure.
Have you found yourself playing any of these other games at the rest of them are, or when you get frustrated, you just stop playing altogether?
No, I've actually a buddy of mine recently got me into another game called Besiege, which is essentially you have to build these medieval weapons, gain an achievement for each level, and it's sort of a free build platform, and I'm finding that pretty interesting. But other than that, really, I don't really game very much.
This was our first clan spotlight, and I'm glad that I picked that I wanted you to do it, and so I actually was waiting till I could get opportunity to talk to you.
I'm flattered, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm excited we'll have another one next week. We're going to keep on doing some of these different ones, getting to know some of the other people in the clan. If you want to be a part of the next clan spotlight, just go to our website, go and click on clan, apply, and then you can apply to be in the next clan spotlight. Hopefully we'll have more of these every week. If you'd like to be in the one next week or one of the coming weeks, make sure you apply. Thank you once again for joining me, Whitetail.
Anytime.
And I will see you in game.
Sounds good.
Well, there you go, Brian. That actually turned out really well. That was actually the first time I could listen to it in its entirety because, there we go. That was pretty good. I like that.
Well, I was trying to figure out the structure of what we were doing as we did it. Because being that it's the first one, we don't have a set flow. Like with the show, we kind of have a set, all right, here's some of the things that we do. With that, it may change from week to week. Now, who knows?
Now, if you're watching this right now, and let's say you have a question, or maybe you didn't like something about the clan spotlight. Maybe you thought it was too long. Maybe you even thought it was too short. Get in touch with us. This is when we bring up these new segments, we want people to give us their feedback. If you think the segment's too long or too short or something that you think we should change about it, let us know. Get in touch with us. And if it's a reasonable change, we will have no problem implementing that. So there you go. You'll be able to do that. So Brian, thank you for that. And I'll probably do the one next week. Maybe we'll just do it like every other week. Or it's really just all when other people are around. And that's kind of like the hardest thing is when are people around? When am I around? When is it a good time?
Well, and we actually have a decent list of people that have applied for it now.
And that's kind of what we were doing. We were building up the base so that when, it's
because we could do a couple in an afternoon.
We could,
I'm kind of wanting to knock out a couple of these at once. Do a few interviews after another, and then we'll have them all ready. That beginning video actually rendered. Well, that's why we were late.
Yeah.
By a few minutes.
Brian was rendering 400 frames, and it took him like an hour and a half. So we were a little late. Brian, let's talk about free skins.
Yes.
This
is something I know that you're.
All right, I'm going to let you
about.
start it so that I can go on a rant. Go ahead.
Okay, so someone in our team speak said, "Hey, here's something that gives you an opportunity to get some free skins," and it's the Mitani.com, and we'll have a link to the actual page. But this group it's a huge EVE Online clan, and they're raiding H1Z1. And so they actually gave these guys free skins to come in here and do this. And this clan is supposed to be pretty big. It's like a 40,000 person clan that plays EVE Online. EVE Online is a very different structure. So it's not like in H1Z1, it would be impossible for us to have a 40,000 person clan.
This is bull. Why are these people allowed to get all these custom skins made?
So it's very difficult for us to get that helmet skin. You pretty much have to pay for a bunch of keys, and it's a random chance.
Yeah.
And they're giving away one here. This is the first machete skin that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen
the machete skin. This uniform one actually has an armband for them.
Yeah.
And it's partially camouflage. Why are we not able to get these? If you're going to be doing something like this, let us submit a skin. I mean, if they have 40,000 people, they have someone who can make a skin like this. Let us submit our own skins. I mean, if we're a big enough clan, we'll submit a skin that has our infection, we're infected or whatever it is.
I mean, I understand they have a lot of players, but this just really pisses me off. This is a community game that they're trying to build. And they're just like totally slapping the community in the face. There are large clans on H1Z1 that should have this stuff, right? I mean, we're not the largest clan on there. There are clans that are much larger than us.
But if you have a 100-person clan, that is a majority of a server.
I mean, even our clan at one point was 20, 25 people. At that point, I think
at the same time, and we've been running 15 people all week.
So I mean, I understand that they're trying to entice people to play the game, but stuff like this really kind of pisses me off because they're put up on a pedestal. Why can't we create these skins too? I mean, why are these people so special? Because they have a lot of people that play EVE Online. Who cares?
Someone said anyone can get this skin, so we'll put the link in there. All you have to do is apply on their website, and it'll give you a code that you can you can go and use in game, and it will actually give you this helmet skin. So this is a helmet skin for like that annoying blue UN helmet that they have.
Yeah.
That will give you that skin. And then they have a machete skin, which is the first, as I said, first machete skin that I've ever seen. And then they have a TMC uniform shirt. So this is something where, as someone said in here, this is about them making money. Someone's saying that there was a player increase, but part of this player increase was the wipe. If you look at the numbers, if they have 40,000 people, here's a wake-up call. There's 10 to 15,000 people online at any time.
And there were 9,000 or 8,000 last week. So obviously, I'm not saying I want these skins. I'm saying, why are H1Z1 clans not allowed to create their own skins, custom skins, like something like an infection skin, but this group of EVE Online players are allowed to have those skins coming in day one?
I understand they're trying to bring in that huge player base.
But this is just a total slap in the face for anybody that plays the game right now. If anybody that isn't a moderately sized clan right now, this is like a complete slap in the face. I mean, we have been saying for so long that it would be great to get, Brian, you said an armband or a shirt or a helmet, just something to indicate that we're part of the infection clan.
Yeah, why can't we? I mean, if you want something that's really simple, I know they don't want to create such huge files, for all these graphics from tons of different clans on tons of different servers. But why not let us make a customized armband, even if it just is text on an armband, something that we can get that says infected, make it green, it says infected on it, or something like that. That'd be a good way to have like a clan, if they could come up with a way that you can actually identify your clan. They're showing that they have the ability to do it right here. Make it so that's an arm slot. Those files will be really small. They're not super high detail. Maybe they can get it to where some of the bigger clans, or, if you have to apply to be a recognized clan or something, have it to where there is some sort of a skin, to where there is something that says we're unique.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just really discouraging, right? I mean, you sit back, we're a clan. It would be great for us to kind of get some uniform on, and in turn, they get this. And a lot of people in chat are saying they're a business. They're a clan. Yes, they are a business. But they're a clan. It says join the invasion of H1Z1. They're promoting players to join the game, and then they're giving them stuff.
Yeah. Now, Lupus Noctis in chat, he's saying that they have a good history of letting players, and this is something I actually talked about last week, that player studio, to where people can design things. As I said, let us design something.
That's all we want.
Give us an opportunity. They don't allow you to input those things for H1Z1 yet. But, why not let us design them and start inputting content? Because there are a lot of very qualified graphic designers, or maybe even just allow them the tools to get started on it. There are asset packs, but put it out there to where, all right, here's the graphics for our game, and this will update, as patches happen. Right now, it's not a constant thing. What is a graphic today, or what's in the game today, 1 month from now may be totally different, and they don't want people constantly downloading all these new things or working off of old assets. But there will be a point to where they need to turn that on and say, all right, H1Z1 is now a game that is part of the player studio, and you can start contributing content to the game. And I think that will allow for a lot of more of that variation that we really want to see in the game.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I mean, Brian, do you care about this that much, or is this just my problem and I'm the only one that's upset?
Well, I was happy that anyone can apply for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice, yeah. So anybody can get this skin if they'd like to.
So, and that's the thing, is as this right here, this link is available right now. Anyone can get it. I don't know if there's a point where they're going to run out, if they have a limited number, if there's just an unlimited supply of these. Mm-hmm. But, right now you can go and apply, get this shirt, get this helmet, get the machete skin, and make it part of yours. It's not limited to just that group of people, which exactly. I think if they would have limited it to just that group of people, there would have been a lot more backlash.
Yeah. So that's all set. I don't know. I really hope we see this soon, because, I think it would be nice for our clan and any other clan to be able to make some skins if
Well, and I'm not claiming that we're large enough. I mean, we have 25 players on at a time. I bet we have probably, but we're very active. We have maybe, I'm guessing we probably have about 50 people in the clan, but they're not all on at the same time. There may be more people to consider themselves a part of the clan, but it's hard to keep track, with other than the forums. But we have about 50 people in the forums that are active.
Exactly.
And so that's a decent size. I mean, being that the servers only support, a couple hundred people, maybe 300 people right now. That is a decent sized chunk of a server. And as we were talking about before, how I had made that call to all those clans to come in, our server is actually being on high population now. And I can't say that it's 100% because I brought these clans in, but I'm seeing a lot of active clans on our server when before there was one or two. I think it had gotten down to one active clan that wasn't active anymore. They were down to a couple people at that point. So we're getting a lot of active people on our server. Our server population is on high. I think if they're going to be testing clan stuff, come talk to us. Come talk to our server, because I've been trying to get clans on our server, and we may have a higher population of clans on our server than other ones now.
It's possible, yeah. So that's that with the skin system. Mind our little rant there. Let's quickly, Brian, we talked about it, player population and how that has gone. We're using the steamdb.info site. We've been using it for this is our third week doing it now. And basically we're just going to go on here and we're going to look at numbers compared to last week. So,
and these are real-time statistics. Yeah, so there's no way that these could be fake.
Yeah, so there's currently, right now, this is 8:32 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. There's currently 10,156 people playing H1Z1 online right now. The 24-hour peak for this was 12,524 people. And this time last week, we were somewhere around the...
It was about 8K.
It was like the high 7s, low 8s. So this is like a give or take 2,000 person jump from last week. Right after this patch...
So now it did double, and that's what I was hoping for right at the initial wipe.
Yeah, exactly. It got up to about 16.
It went from about 8,000 to 16,000. Mm-hmm. But of course, we're seeing that trend. It did go over 16,000 for a little bit on the 4th. Yeah, so there was a trend of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There was high numbers. So for 3 days. And then on the 5th, which I don't know if people realize this, the 5th is when the hacks came back. Because I can tell you that because we figured it out. The second the hacks came back, they were instantly being used against us. So the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the hacks were not in the... I mean, I'm sure there's people that have private hacks, but the hacks that are on the forums were not released yet. And then if you look at the 5th and the 6th, instantly you have 2,000 person, 3,000, 4,000 person drop.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they recovered a bit, but I don't think the number that they were hoping. I think that they would hope that there's more than 10,000 people playing right now. I mean, it's almost 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's past 6 o'clock on the West Coast. There should be more than 10,000 people playing right now.
And someone's saying that was the weekend. So the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, it was a weekend post-wipe. Everything's new. But if you look at the trend, can you go look at the trends? If you go down a little bit, you can see the year trends.
You want the year trend? Okay.
And that is actually a very good indicator because you can see the spike where it says April 15th. Mm-hmm. That is a spike of when they did the wipe again.
I mean, even if we look at a month, you could just see a month as we go down. You see the 16th spike, but it's going to go right back down again.
We'll go to 3 month. That's a really good indicator. If you go to the 3 month one,
yeah, this is much better. That you're right.
You can see the spike there was a wipe and new content. There was a spike that went on for a couple days, and then there's a huge drop. And so they've got to get it to where that drop is less each time because it's never gone up to the previous wipe numbers.
It's never gone... It's never started inclining again. The wipe happens, and then it just goes down, and it keeps going down until the next wipe, right? There's never a point where in the middle of a patch it starts going up. There's never that incline.
That's where if they can come out with these things like we're talking about the DirectX 11, imagine them releasing DirectX 11. That might bring those people in and keep them there.
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people are.
Because the content will feel new enough.
True. But, I mean, is this... I know we're running a little long here on time. This has got to be crisis mode at Daybreak right now. There should be more than 10,000 people playing this game.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday night. It's not early. Kids are home from school. Why are there not more than 10,000 people playing this game? I have friends at school that haven't touched this game for at least 2 months. Because they were just so turned off at one point that I keep saying, hey, try playing it. And they're just like, I'm not interested. What can Daybreak do right now to get those people back? They don't need to convince us to continue playing. We're going to continue playing. It's the people that bought the game, played it, got fed up with it, and now don't play it anymore. What can they do with those people?
That's where they're going to have to come up with some sort of a bait. They're going to have to find out either a game mode or something that seems new enough to where people want to come and check it out. But then they're going to have it to where hacking is such a minimal thing and some of these things that drive those people away. Because sure, we can have people that come back for those 3 days. But then instantly when everyone's wiped with hacks and it's just like every time you go back to that area, those same hackers are killing you over and over and over again. There's a lot of people that just say, all right, I'm not playing for another week. I'm not playing for 2 weeks. I've had enough of this. I think that's where they're going to have to come up with something that brings them back, but then also have enough of these other things corrected enough to where people will be like, oh, this is a lot better than I remember.
Yeah. Now
it's worth for me to. I'll stick around and let's see what happens.
Now, Brains in chat is saying they need to give out free stuff. They did. I mean, they gave out the shirts,
but they didn't make it public. This was to a select group of people that they made this.
Let's see.
Handy TV saying, why would you expect more than 10 to 15? I expect that because they have over 1 million copies sold. And I'm looking at percentage of people that have purchased the game that are actually playing the game.
This game is, I mean, there's 40,000 people on Reddit that are subscribed. I mean, to subscribe on the Reddit, you've got to be somewhat dedicated to the game. You
didn't just buy it.
You didn't just buy it and be like, oh, well, let me just get on their subreddit. I mean, the people that are on Reddit, the people that are playing PC games, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but they've got that connection. This is not your average person is not going to their H1Z1 subreddit and subscribing. Where are these people? There should be like 15,000, 20,000 people playing the game.
Yeah. So Handy TV is saying, well, H1Z1, DayZ, and Rust all have average about the same number of players.
Rust and DayZ aren't new games. But
DayZ has been out for a long time, and it's been very stagnant when it comes to content and changes.
Yeah.
Rust has actually been out for quite some time too, right?
And even though they just did the guy just did a complete rewrite of Rust, it's still been out for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do. A game in alpha that's been out. How many months has it been out now? It's been out since January. We've done 16 shows.
So it's been out 16 weeks.
Yeah. The game should have more than 10,000 people concurrently playing on a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, and that's the odd thing is I'll see 10,000 people watching people play this game on Twitch.
Yeah.
But then we'll have 10,000 people total playing. It's like, okay, well, how come just as many people are watching someone play as there's the total number of players across all servers?
Yeah, no, and we're not saying we're expecting 40,000 people to play. Brian and I never said we want 40,000 people playing. The 10,000 people is too
I would like
low.
to see a double. I'd like to see 20,000, I think, is for the number of servers that they have, is what they need to make the servers feel like they're populated. Because if you look over the 3-day period at 15,000, there were a decent number of people.
Yeah.
It felt somewhat full, but I think if you get to the 20,000 mark, you're running around, you run into people, you create those interactions that make the game fun. When they start getting down to the 10,000 range, the population seems so sparse that you're running around saying, I'm just not seeing anybody.
Exactly.
And when it was down to 6,000, there was just too few people.
Yeah. So we're going to
And as someone said, Chris Orange says, it seemed like it was a ghost town.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. We're going to keep doing this every week, and we'll see what happens with these numbers. Brian, I want to show something quick here. It was a video that one of our viewers sent in to us. He's a YouTuber and Twitch streamer. Let me get his name. It's Octane Pro, and he's in chat right now. And I'm going to roll this video really quick. So let's see. I'll pull the audio from it. But he is playing Battle Royale, and you can pretty much see what's going to happen. There's a user or a player in the middle of the grass.
There's a guy right here.
He runs right
ran him
over him,
over. He didn't die.
and absolutely nothing happens. And the video essentially ends with his buddy getting out of the car, getting killed, and then he jumps out of the vehicle as well, and this guy kills him. This is such a major problem in the game right now.
Their hitboxes are way off.
It's not even close. This is, like, I've clipped people before, and I was like, all right, if the hitboxes are a little off, it's, it is what it is, right? This was a direct shot right over the middle of the guy's body, under the center of the car, and he walked away.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if the hitboxes work for vehicles anymore. I mean, how can you run somebody over?
This is not a new problem. I mean, we've been running into this
for a while.
Because actually, there is a video, and I'm wondering if I can find it, that I made that's pretty much the exact same story.
Yeah, and it is, and we showed that too.
Yeah, so here, let me grab this for you. So I'll put this in the chat.
And it's been a problem for a while, and he brought that up on Twitter. He directly tweeted it to us and said, "Why aren't you guys talking about this?" And I said, "You know what? We're going to talk about it now." And Brian, you hit this guy too. Let's see if I just get past it. But, I mean, you ran right over the middle of him.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I slowed it down. I put it in the video in slow motion.
And he just pops through the back of the car.
And it shows me clearly going through the center of him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that if you pause it right when he's on there, he is in the middle of my car. And so that is an issue of how is that not a hit? I mean, that is affecting my gameplay. The people are dying because they can't get the hitbox right on a car.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with it anymore. I mean, it's bad. The car stuff is awful. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see. It's been a problem for a while, and I think it's because it's not being talked about as much. But yeah, that's a thing. And I want to thank Octane Pro for bringing that up. He sent it to us on Twitter and said, why aren't you guys talking about this? Stop talking about hackers or base building and talk about this stuff. You talk about the cars.
Yeah.
So let's see, Brian. What else do we have on here? They did a.
So we have our. So yeah, we do have.
I was gonna do. You want to end with tips of the week, or you want to do tips of the week now?
No, we can end with it.
Okay, so then let's do. They're actually doing test server updates now, and they're probably done by now.
And they are doing a Saturday hotfix.
They are.
So they did. Sorry, they did a Saturday hotfix. We didn't really talk about that, but so on Saturday morning last week, there was a hotfix where the doors and locks now respond as intended. So that was a problem. Zombies will now attack you in PvE. So I guess there was a problem where people weren't being attacked in PvE by zombies. Big box collision interaction has been fixed, and then vehicle turbo has been fixed. So those were some small things that they rolled out that it was a really small thing they did. I didn't get to hear a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah. So basically, the test servers were down, and they were doing some bug fixes and doing some data adjustments on the test server. So the test servers were down for like 2 hours, and they're going to be doing those, and then those things that they're doing on the test servers will eventually roll over to the live servers, and that stuff will be updated. So quickly on that, and I think I'll do it for the news stuff. Do you want to do?
No, actually, there is a new head skin that someone had put out, and I think this is some sneak peek content. They're talking about. I think this is a guy who makes some of the graphics, Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a head skin that he put in there. So
Yeah,
I don't know
kinda
where this is going to be.
Kind of hard for your audio listeners, but they're.
But we'll put a link in the show notes as well.
Yeah, we try to make the show as audio friendly as possible, but for some of this stuff, it's like, watch the guy get run over. It's a little hard for you audio people. So all the links.
But I think that was the only thing that we'd really put in there that we hadn't covered.
Yeah. So Brian, you do a segment each week.
Yes.
And it's called Tips of the Week, and you help people out. Yeah, you have the beginner tip and a more advanced tip, and you go through those. So without further ado, Brian, it's time for Tips of the Week.
All right, so for our beginner tip this week, this is something that's pretty simple, but it probably catches a lot of people off guard. If you're going to be going into a fight, you need to make sure you press V before you start your fight, because a lot of times you'll go in and you'll try to fire, let's say with a bow or something like that, and it will not let you draw the bow back. And that's one thing I found. Or if let's say you're wanting to look down a scope or look down your sights, there are times when you right-click and you're trying to look down that sight and it doesn't work. So one quick tip is to press V, and that gets you in the ready state, and then you can go up and either look down your sights or draw your bow back. Another thing is kind of with this is when you're running up to people and you're going to interact with them, and you're wanting this to be a friendly interaction. Sometimes when you come running up with your fists up, it doesn't really, to them, even though you're not meaning anything by it, and it is kind of an automatic thing that the game does, press V to put your fists down, because a lot of people will take that as a non-aggressive stance, and people are not going to possibly shoot you. It's kind of like putting your hands up. You put your hands up in the surrender, but just simply putting your hands down at your sides may make it so they don't attack you, but also they can't handcuff you. Another thing, here's an advanced tip. So when driving a vehicle, you need to make sure you have all of the necessary equipment. People are saying in chat, run up, fists up, shots up. So yeah, hands up, don't shoot, or hands down, don't shoot. So when you're driving a vehicle, you need to make sure you have all the necessary equipment. One thing you might want to do is carry an axe in the trunk, maybe have a lighter, a flare, maybe a bow drill that you keep so that you're able to produce fuel on the run. Sometimes you'll take a vehicle and you run out of fuel. If you don't have some of the necessary tools, there's no way for you to create the biofuel to be able to continue on your road trip. So one quick thing, the reason you carry an axe is so that you have the ability to chop down a tree, and that'll allow you to create a fire. One thing that you can do is if you do not have any ranged weapons, let's say you don't have any arrows or a bow, maybe you don't have any ammo for your gun, you can try to hit animals with your vehicle. And then you can go out there, and as long as you have some sort of a sharp weapon, you'll be able to get that necessary animal fat from that animal, and you can go and cook that in that fire. So that's one thing too, because not everybody wants to carry an axe around, but one reason this is an advanced tip, carry those things in the trunk of your vehicle. And this will make it so that once you get on the far side of the map, you're not stuck over there having to leave the vehicle and then running back. This is one way that another thing you could do is put in a wrench. Maybe have a couple wrenches in your car. You're going to be able to never run out of fuel, and also be able to repair your vehicle if you have some people shooting at you as you're driving down the road. So that's my advanced tip and beginner tip of the week.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Tips of the week. If you have a tip of the week, if you have a submission for that, something you think that we should cover on the show, you can do that if you go over to infectionpodcast.com. You can send us an email, contact@infectionpodcast.com, or tweet us. Our Twitter is twitter.com, and we're at InfectionCast. So that's InfectionCast, C-A-S-T. I think that's going to do it, Brian. A little bit longer of a show than I planned. I didn't think we were going to be able to...
That's what happens when we aim for 45 minutes.
Exactly. We aim for 45 minutes. We got an hour 45 minutes is the time we're at about right now. Quick thing, Brian. People sometimes ask, where can we listen to your show? We're on iTunes. We're on any podcast app that you'd want to be on. We're built into the regular podcast app, into the iPhone. We're on Beyond Pod. We're on Casts. We're also on Stitcher, Stitcher Radio. You can download the Stitcher Radio app and just search for Infection, and we're on there, so you can do that on Stitcher. We're pretty much anywhere where you can get podcasts. We're on YouTube, and of course we're on iTunes as well. So there's about 1,000 different ways to listen to us. So if trying to listen in the car, which I know we have a lot of people doing, there's a million different ways to do that. So
and that's another thing is we allow, as you said, YouTube. So there is a video form, but a lot of people want to be able to listen in the car, as you said. And so any of those podcast apps, that's how, for most of my podcasts I listen to, I have a thing that adapts it to my car and I can listen on the road, which is really nice.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. I have a phone that just sits in my car, and it's just on Wi-Fi. And when I get home, it downloads all my podcasts and everything, and I do the same thing. So give it a try. If you
it's a very nerdy thing to do.
Yeah, very, very nerdy thing to do is dedicate your old Android phone to just listening to podcasts in the car. Brian Aldridge, where can people find you on the net?
Yeah, if you want to find me, go to Bite of Tech, and that's with an I, biteoftech.com, or you can go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, and that's with an I as well. One thing, as I always do the push for the clan, if you want to become a part of our clan, go to our website. On there, on the right-hand side, there's a join our forums. We have a new system to join our forums to become a part of the clan. There's a link to join our TeamSpeak, so come in there and talk to us, see if you get along with us. And then you can join in-game. Make sure you join. We're on Bloodscorn. And then there's a page that describes how to name your character, what server to join, how to do everything. So if you're looking for a clan, now's the perfect time. One reason is we've got a lot of clans on our server now. So if you're looking for some good competition, some people that play every day, if that fits you, then make sure you come and go to infectionpodcast.com, click clan, and apply.
Alrighty, thank you, Brian, and we have to thank Brian for the clan spotlight. I'm a slacker, and Brian picked up the slack on that one. So thank Brian for the clan spotlight and tips of the week, and we'll see you next week, Brian.
Yep, have a good night.
All right, so my name is Nick Craig. You can find me on Twitter. It's @GamecastLive. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. Contact@InfectionPodcast.com. You can get in touch with us anywhere. That's it for this week's show, folks. We'll see you next week for Infection. Later.